In the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, the verdict was delivered. Humanity was expelled. They were too aggressive, too unpredictable, too willing to fight when diplomacy was the proper, civilized way. The Council celebrated their newfound peace, their perfect, placid order. They thought they had solved their human problem. But what if the species you cast out into the darkness was the only thing holding the real monsters back? What if the Council didn't just expel a member? What if they unleashed an empire? This is the story of how, exiled from the Council, Earth built not just a fleet, but an imperium of its own. Before we access the full historical archive, be sure to subscribe to this channel and authorize the data stream. You do not want to be left behind on this journey. Alright, let's begin the chronicle. The year is 2478. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with alien voices. Admiral Anya Sharma stood in the center of it all, her black uniform a stark, silent contrast to the gleaming white walls of Concordia Prime. Delegates from over 300 species sat in judgment of her, of all humanity. She kept her face calm, but inside, her heart hammered against her ribs. Chancellor Kalen of the Zaffron Republic rose from his seat, his blue skin shimmering under the chamber's lights. The Zaffrons had been humanity's allies when Earth first joined the Council 23 years ago. That alliance now lay in ruins. The Galactic Council has reached its decision regarding the human question, Kalen announced, his voice carrying the weight of centuries. After extensive deliberation, we find that humanity has violated the core principles of peaceful coexistence. Anya's jaw tightened. She had expected this, but the words still stung. The evidence is clear, continued Ambassador Thrax of the Hegemony Coalition, her serpentine form coiling around her speaking platform. In the past 5 years, humanity has expanded their fleet by 300%. They have established military bases in 47 systems. Their ships carry weapons that violate 17 different peace treaties. Anya wanted to scream the truth. She wanted to tell them why. But the rules forbade interruption. She could only listen. General Cor of the Mandorian clans, a massive, rock-like being, rumbled from his seat. The humans claim these measures are for defense. But defense against what? We have maintained peace for over 2 centuries. The only threat to that peace comes from humanity itself. The breaking point had come 6 months ago. The Kepler crisis. Pirates had attacked a joint human-alien research station. While the Council debated proper response protocols, human ships had already tracked the pirates down and destroyed their entire fleet. No survivors. No prisoners. No mercy. The research station was saved, Anya had argued at the time. The pirates will never threaten innocent people again. But at what cost? Ambassador Thrax had replied. Violence breeds violence. The pirates had families. You have created new enemies with your brutality. Then came the tidy system. Human ships destroyed lawful Ravager vessels that were stripping abandoned colonies for scrap metal. They acted without Council authorization. Minister Qualls of the administrative body had shrieked. They showed complete disregard for proper legal procedures. Anya's hands clenched into fists under the podium. Procedures. The Ravagers had salvage permits, yes, but they had failed to scan for life signs. The human fleet had saved over 10,000 survivors hiding in underground shelters. Survivors the Council's bureaucracy had left for dead. The final vote was not even close. 297 species voted to expel humanity. Only 6 voted against. Even some of humanity's oldest allies abstained. By unanimous decision, Chancellor Kalen declared, humanity is hereby expelled from our alliance. All human ships must withdraw from Council space within 72 standard hours. All diplomatic relations are suspended. All trade agreements are void. Chancellor, Anya said, her voice finally cutting through the noise. I request permission to speak. Granted, though the decision is final. Anya looked around the chamber, at faces that had once welcomed her as a friend. Now, they watched her with cold satisfaction. For 23 years, she began, her voice ringing with cold clarity. Humanity has been a loyal member of this council. We have fought alongside you against pirates and raiders. We have shared our discoveries freely. We have bled for the common good. And you have repeatedly violated, Minister Qualls began. I am not finished. The chamber fell silent. You say we are too violent, too aggressive. Perhaps you are right. Anya's eyes scanned the crowd, locking onto delegate after delegate. But ask yourselves this. When pirates attacked that research station, where were your fleets? When raiders threatened the border colonies, who answered their calls for help? When the Ravagers were looting dead worlds, who bothered to check if anyone was still alive? Her voice grew stronger. Harder. You have expelled us for being willing to fight, for refusing to let bureaucracy cost innocent lives, for choosing action over endless debate. If that makes us unfit for your council, then perhaps we are better off without you. The chamber erupted in angry shouts. Your words are noted, Admiral Sharma. Chancellor Kalen said over the din. You have 1 hour to depart. Anya nodded. She turned and walked toward the exit. As she passed Ambassador Thrax, she heard the serpent whisper to her neighbor, Good riddance. Now perhaps we can have some peace. Anya smiled grimly to herself. They wanted peace. They were about to get more than they bargained for. Aboard her shuttle, as it launched from Concordia Prime, she opened a secure channel to Earth. The message was brief. It would change the course of galactic history. Council has voted. We are expelled. Recommend immediate implementation of Protocol 7. A pause. Then she added a final, personal line. They wanted us gone. Let's give them what they asked for. 6 months later, the great evacuation was complete. President Eva Rostova stood before the assembled delegates of the United Earth Assembly. The chamber buzzed with tension and anger. My fellow humans, she began, her voice cutting through the noise. 6 months ago, the Galactic Council declared us unfit for civilized society. They said we were too violent, too aggressive, too dangerous. She let the angry murmurs rise and fall. They were afraid of us, she continued, her voice growing stronger. Afraid of our ships, our weapons, our willingness to fight for what we believe in. They wanted us to be quiet and submissive, to let their bureaucrats decide when action was necessary. Her voice swelled, filling the chamber. But we are not a species that accepts defeat quietly. We are not a people who bow down to those who would chain us. We are humans, and today, we reject their judgment and forge our own path among the stars. The chamber erupted in cheers. I hereby announce the formation of the Terran Imperium, Rostova declared over the applause. A new alliance built on human values. Strength through unity. Unity through strength. We will no longer beg for acceptance from species who see us as inferior. We will take our place as the rightful guardians of this galaxy. Admiral Anya Sharma stepped forward from the military delegation. The chamber fell silent, waiting. The council thought they knew our strength, Sharma announced, her voice like steel. They counted our ships and measured our fleets. They believed they understood our capabilities. She smiled. They were wrong. A massive holographic display activated above the assembly floor. It showed star charts extending far beyond the galactic rim into regions no council ship had ever explored. Hundreds of red dots marked hidden installations. For the past 15 years, Sharma continued, we have been preparing for this day. Project Exodus began shortly after we joined the council. We knew their peace would not last. While the council watched our public fleets, we built secret shipyards in the void between galaxies. While they monitored our official colonies, we established hidden bases beyond their sensors. The display zoomed in on one of the red dots. It showed a shipyard complex larger than anything in council space. Hundreds of ships floated in construction bays. The council believed we had 300 ships, Sharma said with cold satisfaction. They were counting only our exploration and patrol vessels. Our true fleet numbers over 900 ships of the line. Battleships, cruisers, and carriers designed for one purpose: conquest. More importantly, she went on, every alien technology we encountered was studied, analyzed, and improved. Their shields are strong, so we built weapons that ignore shields entirely. The IR engines are fast, so we developed tactics that make speed irrelevant. The display showed schematics of the new human ships. They were not smooth and elegant like the Council's vessels. They were angular, brutalist, and aggressive. They bristled with weapons and armor built for war. The Zafarans taught us about energy projection, Sharma explained. We turned their research into plasma cannons that can melt any known armor. The Mandorian clans showed us their engineering. We used it to build ships twice as durable as theirs. Every species in the Council contributed to our education, though they never meant to. Her smile turned predatory. They called us students. They treated us like children. But we were never students. We were researchers, gathering intelligence on potential enemies. Admiral Sharma activated her communicator. Across human space, fleet commanders received their orders simultaneously. Operation New Dawn was beginning. The KTH Collective had ruled their corner of space for 3 centuries. Their hive mind consciousness controlled 17 different species across 42 star systems. They were efficient, ruthless, and had resisted decades of the Council's ineffective negotiations. Commander Alex Ryder stood on the bridge of the TAS Defiance, flagship of the 3rd Expeditionary Fleet. Through the viewport, he could see the KTH homeworld, a diseased jewel covered in continent-spanning industrial complexes that processed resources from enslaved worlds. "Sir, the KTH are demanding we identify ourselves," reported his comms officer. "Open a channel," Ryder ordered. "This is Commander Ryder of the Terran Imperium Navy. We are here to discuss the liberation of your slave species." The response came as a telepathic pulse, like ice water poured into the brain. "We do not recognize your authority. Withdraw or be destroyed." Ryder didn't flinch. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," he replied calmly. "We're not asking. We're informing you of what's about to happen." The KTH response was immediate. Weapons platforms across the system opened fire. A storm of energy beams and missiles filled the void. The human ships barely noticed. "All ships, implement Protocol Alpha," Ryder commanded. "Target priority is military installations first. Avoid civilian areas." The battle for KTH Prime was over before it began. Human ships moved through the defensive fire like sharks through minnows. Their shields absorbed blasts that should have vaporized them. But it was their weapons that truly shocked the KTH. Plasma cannons cut through KTH ships like paper. Kinetic bombardment systems turned enemy vessels into expanding clouds of debris. The KTH's perfectly coordinated hive mind tactics were useless. Human tactical computers had analyzed their every pattern and developed counters for each one. "Sir, the KTH fleet is in full retreat," reported the tactical officer. "Let them go," Ryder said. "Our target is the planet." Captain Maria Santos led the rescue teams into the slave pens, deep beneath the surface of KTH Prime. What she found there would haunt her dreams for years. Millions of beings from 17 species, living in horrific conditions. Beings surgically modified to perform specific functions. Children raised in isolation to break their will. "Jesus Christ," whispered Sergeant Chun, as they entered a chamber filled with viney workers, cat-like aliens fitted with neural implants that forced them to obey. Many had gone insane. "Sir, KTH forces are counterattacking. Negative on retreat," Santos ordered into her comms. "We are not leaving these people behind. Establish a perimeter." The battle in the tunnels was brutal. KTH warriors were larger and stronger, but they fought like drones. The human soldiers fought with a cold, desperate fury. The tide turned when Santos armed a group of Volani rebels. Together, they destroyed the neural control systems. Across the facility, beings who had been mindless slaves for decades suddenly remembered who they were. The revolution spread like wildfire. Commander Ryder watched the liberation from orbit. "Signal all ships. Begin evacuation procedures. Any being who wants to leave this system is welcome aboard our vessels." The response was overwhelming. But an unexpected offer of help arrived. "Sir, it's the Ark Tourist Merchant Guild," his comms officer reported. "They're offering their cargo haulers to assist." The guild was an alliance of pirates, trade, RS, and outcasts. Captain Jax, a reptilian trader, met with Ryder on the Defiance. "Your people fight differently than the Council," Jax explained, his voice a dry rasp. "You actually win. The Council would have spent decades negotiating while these people died in their pens." "We believe in decisive action," Ryder replied. News of the liberation spread like a shockwave. Within 6 months of the battle, 43 different species, long oppressed by tyrants like the KTH or ignored by the Council, had formally requested to join the Terran Imperium. Human fleets were being welcomed as liberators. The Imperium was growing, not through conquest, but through protection. They were proving a point the Galactic Council had refused to understand. Sometimes, the galaxy needed someone willing to fight for what was right. Sometimes, peace could only be earned through war. Chancellor Kalen stared at the tactical display with growing horror. The Void Reapers had emerged from the galactic core 18 months ago. Ancient machines, awakening after millions of years. They consumed entire star systems with terrifying efficiency. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been in progress for 16 hours. They had accomplished nothing. Our combined fleets cannot stand against them, admitted Admiral Thera of the Hegemony Navy. They destroyed the 7th battle group in minutes. Our weapons barely scratched their hulls. The Reapers weren't conquerors. They were harvesters. They broke down matter at the molecular level to fuel their endless expansion. Their technology was beyond comprehension. They manipulated gravity as a weapon. They phased in and out of normal space. Then, the news arrived. The Reapers were heading for the Council's capital system. Concordia Prime itself was under threat. All available fleets are moving to intercept, Chief Scientist Morden reported. But based on previous encounters, we estimate a 7% chance of success. 7%. In that moment, pride became a luxury the Council could no longer afford. Sir, an aide interrupted, his voice shaking. We're receiving an emergency transmission from the DMZ, near Terran space. It's from an independent survey captain. The transmission crackled. This is Captain Vaylor aboard the Dawn's Edge. We encountered Reaper forces, request immediate, wait. A pause, filled with static and the distant sound of weapons fire. I am pleased to report. Human forces have responded to our distress call. The Terran Imperium 3rd Fleet has engaged and destroyed 12 Reaper vessels with minimal losses. Repeat, the humans have found a way to fight these machines effectively. The chamber fell silent, then exploded into chaos. Impossible. It must be a trick. Get me Admiral Sharma. Chancellor Kalen ordered quietly over the din. The Council, in its hour of greatest need, was forced to beg for help from the very barbarians they had cast out. Ambassador Nalar, one of the few who had defended humanity, was dispatched on the most important diplomatic mission in galactic history. What terms should I offer? She asked Kalen privately. Whatever they demand, he replied, his voice heavy with defeat. Territory, technology, whatever it takes. The meeting took place aboard the TAS Retribution, a human dreadnought over 2 kilometers long, bristling with weapons that could crack moons. Ambassador Neeler's small diplomatic shuttle looked like a child's toy beside it. Admiral Anya Sharma waited for her in the main conference room. The diplomatic veneer was gone, replaced by the hard confidence of a warrior who had never lost a battle. Ambassador Nalar, Sharma said, her voice professional but cold. I trust your journey was comfortable. Admiral, Nalar began carefully. I come bearing a formal request from the Galactic Council. We need your help. Sharma's smile was predatory. Help? That's interesting. The last time we met, your council declared us too dangerous to exist alongside peaceful species. The circumstances have changed. The Void Reapers threaten all life. Why should we care? Asked General Ryder, standing beside Sharma. The council made it clear we are not part of galactic civilization. These are not our worlds burning. Because it is the right thing to do. Nalar pleaded. Because innocent lives are at stake. Because if the Reapers consume your old galaxy, they will eventually reach your new one. Sharma leaned back. You assume we cannot defend ourselves. You underestimate humanity. Again, she activated a holographic display. The Reapers have destroyed every fleet sent against them, Nalar protested. Every council fleet, Sharma corrected. We've been fighting them for 18 months. They emerged from the core because we drove them there. Our scouts detected them on the outer rim, and we have been hunting them ever since. The implications hit Nalar like a physical blow. The council hadn't discovered a new threat. They were just the last to find out about a war humanity had already been fighting. How? Nalar whispered. The Reapers manipulate space-time, Sharma explained, showing combat footage. Human weapons fired beams of twisted energy that seemed to bend reality itself. Reaper ships that had been untouchable were torn apart. We developed quantum resonance weapons that can hit them regardless of their phase state. We learned their nature. They aren't destroyers. They're gardeners. They harvest advanced civilizations every 50 million years to prevent them from becoming galactic threats. Your council, in its stagnant peace, grew too large. You triggered their awakening. But you can stop them, Nalar said, a flicker of hope in her voice. We already have, Sharma replied. The Reaper force heading for Concordia Prime will be intercepted by our second fleet in 6 hours. They will be destroyed. Nalar felt a surge of relief, followed by confusion. Then, why did you agree to this meeting? Admiral Sharma's expression became deadly serious. Because it's time for the galaxy to understand some fundamental truths. The age of the Galactic Council is over. Your species had centuries to build an effective military. Instead, you chose bureaucracy over strength, negotiation over action. When a real threat emerged, you were helpless. The human delegation stood as one. They were soldiers. All of them. The Terran Imperium will save your worlds, Sharma announced. We will destroy the Reapers. But we will not do it as members of your council or as allies seeking your approval. What are you saying? I'm saying the galaxy needs protectors, not politicians. The council had its chance to lead, and it failed. Now it's our turn. The Terran Imperium is assuming responsibility for galactic security. Council species may maintain their internal governments, but all external threats will be handled by human forces. All interstellar conflicts will be mediated by Imperium authority. It was not a negotiation. It was an ultimatum. The same thing the Council had given humanity years ago. Only this time, it was backed by real power. A communication alert chimed. Sharma answered it, listened, then looked at Nalar. That was Admiral Torres. The Reaper force heading for Concordia Prime has been eliminated. All 37 enemy vessels destroyed. No human casualties. She turned to the viewport, looking out at the stars. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Ambassador. The Council tried to pretend otherwise. They built a civilization assuming every conflict could be resolved through talk. But some threats don't negotiate. When those threats emerge, the galaxy needs warriors. She faced Nalar one last time. That's what humanity offers. Not endless debate, but decisive action.